Hey guys, welcome back to my channel English with Divyata. If you are new to my channel, do subscribe, share, and like it for more updates. In this video, we'll be dealing with a question which has been asked a number of times in the examination of English Honours under the heading of British Poetry and Drama of the 14th and the 17th century. And the question is related to Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. That is, why is the poetry of Chaucer, the Canterbury Tale, considered a portrait gallery of the 14th century? Why is it so? A lot of us get confused by writing this answer, but I have a clear cut and a very good answer which you'll understand it in a very easy way, and you'll be able to write it very effectively and fetch good marks. Okay, before beginning with it, if you want the handwritten notes or the PDF of any of the chapter, novel, drama, poetry, you can visit my website and get in touch with me directly, and you will avail the facility of all the notes via email or WhatsApp. Okay, now beginning with our context. Why is Chaucer's prologue to the Canterbury Tales considered a portrait gallery of the 14th century? That is, how does it represents the 14th century? It is so because Chaucer has presented specimens from majority of the socio-economic classes that were presented in the 14th century. And according to my research and what I have studied and gone through, it is probable that he had seen this work in one of his visits to Italy as diplomats. And what I am saying here is that it is probable, and I am not confirming it that it is surely a work which he had seen in one of his visits. It is rather probable, which I had once studied, and I am mentioning it. Okay, how you can begin your answer in this is, in the very first line you can start, as father of English poetry, Chaucer is one of the greatest writers of the 14th century. This is a very effective line, and it is also eye catchy, which if you write you'll obviously fetch a very good mark. And then you can mention that he is hailed as the morning star of Renaissance, who raised the East Midland dialect to the level of English language. Okay, here the East Midland dialect to the level of English language is totally a different topic, which if you go through the history of Chaucer, you'll understand it, and I'll also explain it in another video. Okay, moving on. He was the greatest His greatest poetry, the Canterbury Tales, is taken from his group of poems that is considered to be a portrait gallery. It is a cross section of the society of the 14th century, as there are people included from different strata of society, presenting the different appearances, happenings of what actually prevailed at that era. Basically, it's a complete overview giving a genuine picture of the 14th century society of England. Okay, for writing this answer, once you'll have to go through this poetry, I have the translation with me. Those who want it, they can comment me in the comment box and visit my website. I'll put the link over there, and then you can have the translation which I've written it myself according to my understanding, which will be very beneficial for all those who study it. Moving further to our topic, the narrator, that is Chaucer, begins with describing the return of the spring. Further, he describes, rather informs, that he has set off to visit a shrine, tomb of Becket in Canterbury. He tells us that as he prepared to go on to such a pilgrimage, staying in the Tabard Inn, Southwark, a great company of 29 travellers arrive, and they all are from a diverse group who met at Tabardin for their way to Canterbury. They did not know each other, but they were the pilgrims who were going to visit the tomb of Becket, and they had met over there. They decide that each pilgrim will recite two stories, and whosoever recites the best will be honored. The host of the pilgrim is Harry Bailey, and Chaucer himself is what? He is one of amongst the 29 pilgrims and the one who will relate the readers with what each pilgrim recite. Before continuing to the tale, the narrator declares his intent to list the characters, members of the group particularly. He'll tell us about the conditions, degree, and array of each pilgrim. This is how it represents the 14th century, as he has mentioned about different characters, different types of people from different and diverse group who were there, and he has explained about each one of them, their behavior, their characters, the way they dressed, and all these factors are somewhere equal, and they represent the all the economic, the social, the religious factors of the 14th century. Okay, moving ahead. In the portrait that we see further, the knight and the squire represent the military class. The clergy is represented by the prioress, the monk, the friar, and the parsoner. Well, the franklin and landowners, man of law, guildsmen, physician, wife of bath, shipmen, cook, professionals, ploughmen, stewards, reeve, municipal, miller, church officers, summoner, parsoner, pardoner. All these characters have been explained beautifully in the poetry, and once you'll have to go through it. I'm repeating it again and again. And all these characters which have been represented, which have been portrayed in his poetry, are the portrait gallery of the 14th century. As they are from different strata of society, they have different cultures, they have different way of dressing, and all these things are somewhere or the other the factors which represent and give us a view, the genuine picture of the 14th century. And he has also mentioned about the both the corrupt characters as well as the good ones of the church. Okay, one more thing which he notifies in his poetry is that the church was not corrupt, but rather the people who worked in it made it corrupt. He has given various examples to portray this. Therefore, he has given a complete overview of what happened in that 14th century. You can quote few lines from the poetry to support your answers, and that's it. If you write whatever I have explained, if you mention the names of these characters which have been mentioned in the poetry, and if you do not mention how they appeared, how they looked, you'll fetch a very good marks. It is my guarantee, a sort of, because I gained a very good marks in this answer. And if you want the handwritten answer or the PDF of this answer, you can visit my website and or comment in the comment box and get it. Thank you.